Right, so here we go, bit of first night success. It's now the Sunday morning and we've got the first fish. Came from the spot with the 2 rods on, out in the middle. It's been in the sling a little while, just while I got my camera gear and that sorted, so it's probably going to be fairly lively, but not one of the monsters. 29.4, but a great way to start. Proper chunky looking fish, as a lot of them are in here. Typical French fish, big old guts on them. It's going to be lively. Come on, behave. There we go. How about that? Not a bad way to start the morning. 29 4-pound mirror from Crete Lakes. There we go. Let's just spin around and have a look at the other side. She'll behave herself. There's been so many fish boshing out in this end in the shallows since I got here, really. They're getting absolutely nuts, but I don't know if there's been that many fish caught yet, but they've been cruising around a lot. It's only a matter of time, I suppose, till they start getting their heads down feeding a bit more. But this is very welcome none the same. It's a bit of a hard one to hold with the shape of the thing, and it's still very lively, but come on, behave. No gut on that. What an absolute pig. Oh well, we better slip her back and hopefully catch one of the bigger brothers. Alright, so it's near the end of the second day, Sunday. It's been a bit of a slow day, really. I had that fish first thing this morning just as the sun was coming up, and thought there might be a couple more to come during the day. There's plenty of fish down here. They seem to be out in front of peg 60, which is just round to the right of me. They've been boshing out like mad in there all day. Just out of my water, really, a bit too far around to cast, which is a shame, but the weather should be turning in the next couple of days. It's absolutely baking hot here today. It's been mid-20s again all day. Sun's absolutely ripping down on me here as well. It's really hot and bright. They've just been cruising around again, so hopefully tonight they'll switch on again. They seemed to last night. A few fish came out from around the lake, some more in deeper water than right in the shallows where I am, but I'm hoping that with the wind change later on in the week, the fish will start pushing through where I am. So yeah, it's just a little update of where we are at the moment, and hopefully next time you see me it'll be with a fish. Alright, so it's now Monday afternoon. I haven't done much videoing so far this trip because I've been absolutely knackered, and the nights have been pretty crazy as well, so it's been a bit quiet, I'm afraid, but hopefully I can get down and start doing a lot more filming for the next couple of days. So last night I managed 3 fish. I lost a few as well, but I'll tell you about that in a little while. The fish were, got it written down, a 34.6 mirror, 27-pound mirror, and the last one named is a 41.3 mirror. So yeah, I've really made up with that. Yeah, got a few photos of those now that you can see. It was a bit crazy, really. Every time I had a fish, it seemed to wipe out at least one of the other rods. So I spent the whole night trying to get my rods back out on the spots, or playing fish, or when I had that second from last mirror, I was then lifting it out of the water. I literally just picked it up to carry it over to the mat, and my right hand rod absolutely ripped off, one toner. I was trying to put the sling back down with the fish into the water and secure it, trying to get over to my rod before it launched into the lake, because it was absolutely ripping off. And that was the 41-pound mirror. But I managed to get them both in the end safely. I didn't get any videos of the fish. I've got the photos, as you've seen. It was just too much going on last night to try and film, and I was so knackered anyway that just wasn't worth the hassle. But yeah, hopefully I'll try and film the fish from now on. I managed to swap the batteries around my mic and stuff, so hopefully that's working properly now. But yeah, also I moved the rods around a bit yesterday. The left hand rod and the middle rod are still on the same spots they were. I had fish off both of those rods now yesterday, well last night. But my right hand rod, I couldn't resist the fish over in the right hand corner. There was just so many fish over there the last couple of days that I had to put a rod over there. I can't go that far that way, it's not really my water. If I keep going there I'll be encroaching on peg 60. 9 wraps is my limit, so I am clipped up at 9 wraps. And just pinging out singles because I don't want to go out in the boat over to his swim and start hammering in bait in front of him towards where he's got his rods. He's nowhere near where my rod is, but he's still heading towards his water a bit, and I don't really want to be filling it in there. And they seem to be picking up singles over there. I've had 3 runs on that rod now. Only landed 1. It's a barbless rule on here, and there is a big weed bed there, and they seem to be dropping off as I'm trying to get them through there. So might have a little play around with the rigs later on that rod. But yeah, I'm just picking a white single out, 9 wraps as I say, and yeah, that's the rod that done the bigger fish, the 41-pound mirror. So we'll keep that spot today. The weather's meant to change a bit, the wind's meant to swing, so hopefully that'll push the fish out of there and I can put both rods back on that back spot. But as I say, all 3 spots are now doing fish. I put another 5k out today on the 2 spots, so hopefully they'll come back in tonight. It doesn't seem to be doing many bites during the day at the moment. I did have a screaming take earlier on from that right hand rod, but that came off coming through that bed again. But yeah, so fingers crossed for tonight. Hopefully we'll have some fish to show you before long, or a few more fish to show you I should say tonight. Hopefully some bigger ones as well. The lake did do a 53 mirror last night from a bit further down the lake, so they're starting to come out in a better size. Most of the other fish out have been high 20s, 30 around that kind of mark. But yeah, don't have any more fish. Later on I'll go out in the boat, I'll put the H blocks out, and I'll show you my spots properly, so you'll see where they are exactly. And then I'll go into a bit of detail about the bait and rigs and everything like that I'm using. But yeah, until then, hopefully I'll see you with another fish soon. Alright, here we go, fish number 5 of the session. This one came to the left hand rod on a nice little orange masala spice wafter. It's 2912. See if she's going to behave, because she's fairly lively still. No is the answer to that. Come on. They're so lively in here, the scraps are absolutely ridiculous. There we go, how about that? Okay, have a spin around, see if we can do the other side. There's not been so many fish about this evening. The last few nights I've been boshing like crazy, but tonight's been a lot quieter. I've hardly seen anything really. I stayed up quite late just to see if I could see any fish, but it's been very quiet indeed. But it's now nearly 5 o'clock in the morning and this is just ripped off, so hopefully they're going to start feeding during the day, because at the moment it's been terrible. There we go. So let's slip it back and see if we can catch another. Alright, here we go, fish number 6. This time it's come from the middle rod over one of my homemade wafters, topped with a bit of classic corn, and it's the first common of the trip. It's not a very big one, just over 24 pound, but it's quite nice to have a common, as there does seem to be a lot more mirrors than anything else at Crete. But it's a little short dumpy one, still covered in leeches. Whether they've been laying up somewhere still or what, they're just waking up still. But yeah, it's a cracking looking fish, really nice. Just spin around for you. It's been, as I say, quite a slow night until the last hour or so. That last fish I just showed you was, yeah, well, I mean, I must have only just got the rods back out about an hour ago. So yeah, it's the right result. They seem to be feeding first thing quite a lot. I had a few bites yesterday early morning, so here we go, just give her a bit more water. Absolutely immaculate, this fish. What a nice common. It's quite up front, it's a bit of a pain to hold. There we go. Lovely way to start the morning before breakfast. But still an hour or so till I have to reel in for food. So still a chance for another one in the morning. But I might rest the swim a bit today because it's been fishing really slow in the day, so I might put some bait out, go have a walk around, leave it for a while, and then get the rods back in this afternoon, see how it goes. But if I don't have any more for then, I'll see you later on. Alright, so I just thought I'd take a moment to talk to you about the bait and the baiting approach that I'm using here at Crete Lakes at the moment. It's a boilie only complex, there's no particles or pellets allowed on site, so the approach is just pure boilies. The boilies that I'm using for this session is a mix of two, both from spotted fin. It's the Smoky Jack and the Catalyst. They're two very contrasting baits. The Smoky Jack is a rich red tuna based bait, and the Catalyst is a classic nut, hemp and milk protein style bait. So they're two completely different baits, but together they work really well. I'm using them in 15 millers, but the majority of them is in halves and chops rather than whole baits, because there's a lot of people just hammering in pure beds of whole boilies. So something a bit different, get the fish grubbing around a bit by putting all those halves and chops in there. I'm not just putting them out standard straight from the bag. They are getting a massive glug of hemp oil, and also I'm using the thick gloopy particle syrup, which is based around the Catalyst bait. Giving it a good dosing of that, mixing it all up together with the hemp oil, and you get a real thick gloopy liquid, and the baits get a really good cover and it's really sticky, and it just plumes off attracting when you chuck it in the edge. Looks really, really good. And it's been working so far. I've had a few fish so far, up to 41 pounds. Hopefully that'll keep going tonight. We go into the third night. It's looking really good out there now. The wind's hammering into my face, so hopefully we should have some more tonight. I've been putting out about 5k a day at the moment. I put about 7 in this morning, but that's because I had those free fish and lost a couple of fish as well. So when I went out in the boat with the aquascope, there's no baits left on the spot, so I thought I'd give them a good dosing this morning. I spread over 2 spots, so that's 7k. Might sound a lot, but believe me, when you get out in a boat and you put it out and you look for an aquascope, it looks hardly anything on the bottom if you've got a nice big clear spot. And the amount of fish in this lake, if you get a shoal move over to you, they'll absolutely demolish 5k in no time whatsoever. So don't be afraid to give them a bit if you come here. They absolutely love the bait, and it can become a bit of a baiting war at times on Lake 5, but there's no need to do too gun-ho, I suppose, really, because I did have that 41 pounder yesterday on a single. So as long as you're on the fish and you put out a good bait, you really will do alright on it. So yeah, going into the third night, as I say, so hopefully things will carry on tonight and we'll have some more fish to show you in a little while. Alright, so it's been another absolutely baking day here at Crete Lakes. After I had those 2 fish this morning, I decided not to fish for the rest of the day. The lake's been fishing really slowly during the day. I think it's done a couple of fish over the whole lake during the daytime, so they've all been coming out in the evening and early morning. So come 5-6 o'clock, I had that last fish. I knew it was probably going to be my last chance of the day. So I reeled in about 7 o'clock, went out in the boat, gave him a good helping of bait, put about 7k over a couple of spots, and then just went for breakfast, and I've just left my swim all day. Just thought it was best to leave the line, so give them a bit of free bait, and hopefully that'll give them a bit of confidence, and they'll come back this evening when I've got my rods there, and it'll give me the best chance for a few fish. Just trying to optimise the bite time really, because last week apparently all the bites came during the day, hardly anything came at night, and this week is the complete opposite. The daytimes have been absolutely awful. It's all been nighttime bites. So as I say, got the rods out now, it's about 7 o'clock. I went back in the boat before I put my rods out, put another couple of K out. I did see a couple of fish and I spooked a couple with the marker rod as well as I was putting the bait out. So it's a good sign they're in the area, and they've probably been around the bait as well. So that's why I just topped it up, just to make sure there was plenty out there for the night. And yeah, it's looking really good. It's absolutely boiling at the moment, but as soon as that sun dips the temperature will drop, and I'm feeling really confident tonight. It's looking really good. The last few nights have been quite good, a couple of fish each night, but I just feel like I'm picking off just the odd fish rather than actually getting a good hit of fish. So that's why I thought I'd try something a bit different today, leave the rods out, give them a bit of free bait, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, that tonight might do a few more fish. But you never know. That's the beauty of fishing, you never quite know what's going to happen. Could kick off, or it could be a blank night. So yeah, as I say, I'm feeling really confident, so hopefully next time you see me it'll be with a fish. Alright, so here we go. So the rest in the swim appears to have paid off. Rods have only been out an hour or two, and the right hand rod's absolutely ripped off. It's the one I was fishing singles to, but I've been putting bait out today. There's been loads of fish there and it's just melted off. So it's only been in the water a couple of hours, so it's a really good start. It's really lively though, it came in really easily and just battered me once I got it in. So let's see if we can, it's only a little mid-double, I haven't weighed it, but it's the smallest fish probably in the lake. There's not really many in here this size, but there we go. A little baby one, probably to grow on to be a monster, like many of them do in here. Just spin it around. Okay. There we go. How about that? Let's slip her back and hopefully we'll get a big one next time. Alright, so here we go, so what we came for. 54-pound mirror, absolutely buzzing. 8 fish of the session from the middle rod. Absolutely ripped off. We're going to try and hold it up for you, but I'm absolutely knackered already from a couple of photos, but there we go. How about that? What an absolute chunk. Completely made up. It's made the trip, that. What an absolute beast. We'll slip her back and see if there's any time for any more tonight. Alright, so here we go, fish number 9 of the session. It's kicking off out there, and this one goes 38.6 £6. It's another chunk, classic French carp. Real big gut on it. I'm absolutely knackered already. And we'll see if we can hoist it up for you. There we go. How about that? Absolute beauty. Another whacker, 38 pounds. Bailiff now driving past as well. That's what the noise is, but there you go. We'll just spin around, show you the other side. There's just so many big chunks in this lake, it's unbelievable really. The amount you see boshing, it's just a crazy stock of fish. Here we go. There we go. Chunk. Right, let's slip her back. There's still plenty of time for some more tonight. Alright, so here we go, fish number 10 of the session. And this time it's a lovely 31-pound common. It's the 4th fish of the night. It's now getting light, and yeah, it's a bit lively because it's been in the sling while I was just sorting the camera gear out. So we'll see if it will behave for us. It's a real dumpy fish, this one. Still a bit lively. There we go, how about that? Looks like it's going to be another warm day again. I'm not sure yet where I'm going to fish today, or whether I'm going to do the same as yesterday and bait the swim and just rest it for the day, but I'm absolutely knackered from the night. I've barely had any sleep. Let's have a look at the other side, shall we? a bit of water. I lost a couple as well on the long rod, the middle rod, during the night after those first few fish. So that's 6 takes in one night. It's been pretty hectic. There we go, how about that? Beauty. Alright, we'll slip her back and probably go get some breakfast. Alright, so while the weather's not too bad, I thought I'd just go through in a bit of detail about the equipment I've brought with me for use with the boat. Crete Lakes 5, you are provided with a boat, and it's a massive advantage to get out there and find spots with. It really does help. When I first got here, it was dune clear. You could see a lot of the lake bottom just Polaroids, and they're the first thing you have to bring with you. A decent set of Polaroids. I always carry a set of the Fortis wraps. I've been using them for years. They're brilliant bits of kit, quite cheap as well. They really do help see through the water column and down to the bottom. And on the same note, I have brought with me an aquascope. It's a bit of a luxury. It folds down into 3 sections, and it's a brilliant bit of kit. When the water gets a bit cloudy, you've got a lot of chop on the water or some weird sunlight, an aquascope just breaks through the water and you can just see the bottom like you've never seen before. It just gives you so much detail, you can see absolutely everything. I've been using that to try and find spots amongst the weed, and also when I go out and bait up from the boat, I've been using the aquascope to see if there's any bait left from the night before or if the bait's all gone. So really helpful. Not essential, you can get away without using them, but they really do help if you have got them. On to finding spots, I've brought with me a set of prodding sticks. These come in 3 sections and they join together just with a little push fit. One end you've got a nice bright grippy handle. They're really lightweight carbon, and on the other end it's just a hard bit of metal and then holes in the bottom to allow the water out. Once you're out in the boat, you can just feel around on the bottom, you can get real good indication of what the bottom's like, and you can find spots really easy. When you lift it up, a couple of spots I found were real hard gravel and around them was weed, but also when I was lifting up the prodding stick, the water coming out of the holes was just really black and silty. So all around it was really choddy, and then there's really nice hard clean spots, and that's where I had the 41 from, down on my right on that spot. So it's another great bit of kit to bring with you. They're only 5-foot sections, they fit in a rod bag really easily, and they're absolutely brilliant. They help find everything way quicker than a marker rod would ever do. Lastly, but very importantly, once you've found your spots, you're going to want to mark them up, and for that I've brought with me several different H blocks. Got them in a couple of different sizes. Yeah, really good. These are from the tackle box. They make their own, very buoyant, big weight on the bottom. Just looking through the aquascope, you can just chuck them over the side when you see something, and they'll just pop up to the surface and mark exactly where you've found your spot. And you can go back if you're drifting in the boat and investigate it more. Or once you've found your spot, you can come back to the bank, clip up, and then you can just ping your rods to it, and you can see if you're bang on your spot. Can't leave these out overnight or for very long on Lake 5. I think there's an hour rule. You can't leave your H blocks in for more than 1 hour, just to avoid anything getting tangled around it or any risk of people getting tethered up or anything with the cable on the H blocks. But yeah, brilliant bit of kit. I've got 4 of these with me because when I was out in the boat trying to find it on the first day, as I was going around, whenever I saw a spot, just chuck one of these on it, and then you can just go back and find the best looking spots after that. I suppose the last and very most important item is a life jacket. They're provided here at Crete Lakes, and it is law in France to wear one when you go out in a boat. Plus, it's just common sense, why risk it? They're not that cumbersome, you can still do all your boat work with wearing them, and you're not going to drown, which is vitally important. That is the other rule with the boats on Crete Lakes. You can't go out at night, and you're only allowed 1 person in the boat at a time. But they're brilliant bits of kit. and just with a few little things that you can bring with you, it really will make your fishing a lot easier. Alright, so while we haven't got the rods in, I just thought I'd go through in a little bit of detail the spots that I'm fishing this week here at Crete Lakes on Lake 5. It took a little while to find where I wanted to be, but I think I've got all 3 rods on good spots now. All 3 rods have done bites, and regularly as well. Every night I seem to be getting runs off all 3 rods, which is really positive. I know the fish are around them and they're feeding on the spots as well, which is a real confidence booster. So the left hand rod is fished at 12 wraps, and that is straight in line with the double peg on the left hand margin. As you can see from the map, it's really good marker. I can see it really easily at night. It does help there's people fishing it, and they seem to be leaving a light on for most of the night, so I can ping a rod over there in the dark really easily. And 12 wraps, it's a really comfortable cast, just a little flick out, and it's a rock hard spot. It drops down not much, there's about a foot or so variation, and to the right where the drop is quite a bit of weed, and then there's this really nice big open gravel patch. It's absolutely rock hard, completely clean, and that's the spot I've seen quite a lot of fish over really, but it hasn't done as many bites as I thought it might do, but I am still getting runs off it most days, which is really positive. I keep putting the bait out there. As I say, I've been putting about 5k on each spot, and that's of the Smoky Jack and the Catalyst from Spotted Fin. And every time I go out with the boat and the aquascope, there's not a drop left in the morning. They've just smashed it all. So maybe I should be getting a few more runs off it than I am, but we'll see how it goes tonight. The middle spot is right out in the distance. As you can see, there's a pontoon. They're just little platforms. I don't know if they were once aerators years ago, but I'm fishing just to the right of that, probably about a rod length to the right, and probably a rod length maybe off the pontoon. It's at 22 wraps, which I think is about 88 yards, so it's a bit of a chuck, but not too bad. You can still make it easily enough even when the wind's blowing into your face, and that is just a massive clear open spot. It's a well-known spot out there by the pontoon. A lot of fish come from that area. They like to hug around there. It always does fish, and I've had the majority of my runs off that spot, including the 54 pounder last night came from that spot as well. I've lost a couple out there. There is a weed bed short, and I've lost a few fish coming through there, but that's the thing with barbless hooks, you're going to lose a few in the weed. You've just got to accept that fact when you come here, that you're not going to land every single fish you hook. But it's a really nice spot. It's really wide open. I've just been putting a real wide spread of bait every time I go out there. I've been trying to do that on those 2 spots, give it a big old spread, not tight and compact, get them moving around. That way they tend to be a bit easier to hook when they're moving around rather than set stationary, because they hit the lead a lot easier and find it harder to deal with the rigs when they're moving. The right hand rod was the rod I found last really. I was fishing 2 rods on that middle spot to start with on the first night, but only the left hand of the 2 rods was going. I'm sure if I'd have left it there, both rods would have done bites. There's no reason why only one should have done. But there's been loads and loads of fish stacked up in front of peg 60 to the right of me, and I had a little lead around there. You can only get a maximum of 9 wraps to your right, and so I'm fishing at 9 wraps, dead in line with one of the swims over that side, and that is the smallest spot of the lot. It's probably only, I don't know, 6 foot, 7 foot wide, and probably the same deep, but it's real clear gravel there, but it's surrounded by thick deep weed. It's a bit of a pain to hit at night. There's no real marker. The swim that I'm aiming at during the day is pretty much disappears in darkness, so it's a bit of a pain, but if I have a lead around there, it takes 3 or 4 casts and you usually get it on the money after a couple of casts. That done the 41, and it done me the little mirror last night as well, so the bait's going from there as well. But compared to the other spots where I'm putting a big spread of bait, that one's a lot tighter, and I'm probably using a little bit less bait on that spot as well, just trying to get a bite at a time off that one. But yeah, it's just a bit of detail about the spots that I'm fishing in this swim, and hopefully that'll help you if you come here and give you a starting point. Alright, so It's now the afternoon on Wednesday. I haven't fished today. I left it till about 11 o'clock after that common and decided that it wasn't really happening, so I decided to reel in again, rest the swim for the day. I went out in the boat. It was a bit of an effort. The wind's hacking down into me again. It's a bit of a strong paddle against the wind, but went out, put a load of bait out, about 6k over the spots again. There wasn't a drop left when I looked through the scope. They'd absolutely smashed it all last night. It's not surprising really. Had 4 fish. I lost another 2, one of them being that absolutely cracking 54-pound mirror. But yeah, it looked really good today, but I don't think the lake's done a bite during the day again. It's been really weird. All nighttime bites, which by accounts is not that typical for Lake 5. It tends to be a lot of daytime, not nighttime bites. So why that is, I don't really know, whether it's the weather or just the time of year or what, I'm not really sure, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of point in fishing during the day, so might as well leave it with the lines out of the water. Everyone else seems to be fishing through the day, so without any lines in the water and free bait on offer for them, they can come in, move away from the pressure of the lines, and hopefully that's why I'm picking them off at night, because they're coming in during the day when there's no lines here, and they're staying around into the evening, and that's where I'm picking them off. So I've done the same again today. We'll see how that goes. I might fish through the day tomorrow. The weather's looking quite good, the temperature's dropping and the sun's coming out again, so there might be a chance tomorrow during the day. So I think I'll probably fish through till breakfast tomorrow. I'll probably then go out in the boat, bait up again, and probably fish through the day, but they can all change pretty quickly on here, so we'll see how tonight goes, and hopefully it'll be another busy night and we'll have some more fish to show you. Right, so here we go, fish number 11 and the first fish of the night. It's been really slow tonight so far. It's now 5 in the morning. I had a run about an hour ago. I lost that in the weed, and then the left hand rod's just melted off, and it's a 36-pound mirror. It's really lively. They all are in here, they all scrap like mad. Give you a right beating on the bank as well. Let's see if she let me pick her up. Come on. There we go. 36-pounder Crete Lake mirror over the Smoky Jack and Catalyst. Another beast, and very welcome this morning. As I say, it has been very quiet. A couple of fish did come out during the day yesterday in the end, so I think I will fish during the day today, and we'll just see what comes of it really, because it slowed down tonight quite a lot, so maybe they're starting to switch today again, but who knows really in here. It's all a little bit of guesswork. There we go, the other side. A lovely job. Alright, let's slip her back and get the rods back out. Alright, so here we go, fish number 12, and it's an absolute pasty. Probably low to mid double, something like that. I think I've been a bit unlucky with the size of fish at the moment. I've had a couple of low doubles and low 20s and that as well, so hopefully today I'll bring a bigger fish, but here we are anyway. Still a fish. That rod's only been back out, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half since that last fish, on the same spot, the left hand one, on a white freezing wafter. So yeah, the spot's rocking and the rigs are working, but sadly the fish size is a little lacking at the moment. Not exactly what you come to France for, but still welcome all the same. Got some nice little tiny starburst scales at the back, but there we go. I'm sure it will grow on to be another huge Crete Lakes carp at some point. Definitely one for the future. Let's slip it back and get the rods out and hopefully sneak another one before breakfast. Alright, so after those fish, I thought I'd just take a little bit of time to talk about the rigs I've been using here this week on Crete Lakes. They're pretty similar to the rigs I've been using pretty much for all my fishing recently. Those that have seen any of my videos before will know that I stick to the same couple of rigs. I don't swap and change very much, just make little tweaks to them, just depending on the venue. I like to keep things simple, I like to keep things consistent to what I do, and I know these rigs work for me, so I like to take them everywhere I go basically. The bottom bait rig that I've been using is a coated braid, but it's fished as a D rig. That's fished with a wafter. The wafter is a homemade one. I've had most of my success on that one. It's made to look like the Smoky Jack in colour, but it's also based around the Catalyst base mix kit, and it's also got black pepper oil, and it's also got some toffee flavouring in there. They're really pungent. It's been soaked in the Finomino glug, and it's topped mostly by a bit of classic corn by Enterprise that's got these Frank Warwick classic corn flavourings to it by Spotted Fin. That is on a large D shape on the hook. The hook itself is barbless, that is the rules here on Crete Lakes, and that is a medium curve shank pattern with an aggressive eye. It's got a whipping knot at the top to form the D, and then the knot is tied knotless knot, 3 wraps either way, 3 over, 3 under the D. That just kicks the D out really nicely at the bottom of the hook and gives you a nice big D and lots of movement. Hook bait is attached with a micro rig ring swivel, and I steam the braid coming out of the eye straight down at a really aggressive angle. Just helps kick everything over, and it does stay like that for quite a long time out on the bottom. Then I have about a centimetre section of strip back braid. Just gives the bait loads of movement. I have fished it straight through, coated braid all the way along, but I find just having that little centimetre of strip back coating just helps the bait drop into the fish's mouth and flip over a lot easier. Where I've stripped back the coating, I then place a large blob of putty. It's then solid all the way down to the next blob of putty, which just helps kick everything away from the lead, and that is attached to a helicopter setup with a quick change swivel by a large figure of 8 loop knot. I also have a little rubber sleeve here just to go over, just to stop the rig coming off and just kick everything away from the lead a bit better. The hook baits that I've been using on this, as I say, my homemade ones with the classic corn. I've also been using the Fruit Zing corn, which is a bright white colour. I've just been swapping around, and the other wafters that I've been using are the barrel 18mm by 15mm Fruit Zing barrel wafters, and also I've got some Catalyst wafters, which is the other bait I've been feeding, and they are heavily glugged in GLM and Finomino. So I've been swapping the hook baits around a little bit. I haven't noticed a massive difference in takes swapping between colours and the hook baits. They seem to be taking most things out there, but I think the majority of fish I've had have came from the yellow classic corn, but I have been putting that out a bit more, so swings and roundabouts really on the colours. They don't seem to have too much of a preference at the moment. So yeah, it's a really aggressive rig, really fast turning, it really grabs hold, and having the hook sharpened by myself, they really are very aggressive, and the hook hold's been brilliant. I haven't lost many fish at all on this, even with the barbless rule. So that's the wafter rig that I've been using. The other rig that I've been putting out on the right hand rod is a stiff hinged rig, and that's not tied to a swivel, that's tied with an all-braid knot to some coated braid with a little bit stripped back. It just makes things a little bit neater. I find it flips over really well with that coated bit of braid stripped away there. It's critically balanced. It's a size 4 chod style hook with a little D, micro rig ring swivel, and then this is what I had the 41 on. It's a bright Buchu berry pop-up and a bit of Fruit Zing corn. I've been fishing this just casting at fish really, that right hand rod, or at the moment I've got it out with not that much bait around it, so I don't want a Max a Hatch style hook bait. I want something that's nice and bright, really high attract, that hopefully the fish that are cruising around over there will just drop down and single out that individual bait. So I want it as bright as possible, hence the contrast in colours. And the Buchu pop-up is washed out this real bright pink colour, but it's not that bright when it goes out. It just washes out a nice bright pink once all the glug and that's come off it. That all the way down is coated, as I say, from that little bit stripped back at the start. Got another little blob of putty that I have on all my rigs just to help kick everything away from the lead. And once again that's attached with a figure of 8 loop knot to the quick chain swivel on the helicopter setup. The helicopter setup that I've been using is a drop-off heli and that's a 4-ounce donk lead without a swivel, just with a little ring there instead. They just sit better on the heli safe system, and it's just got a couple of safety beads on there on a safe zone leader. Leg core's band here, so hello. Yep, I think we're in. Alright, so absolutely gutted that fish came off. Sometimes you talk things up. I was saying about I've lost a couple on that stiff hinge rig. That was the right hand rod that just went off. It weeded me up solid into a weed bed. I'm fishing that, just pinged out really at some fish I'd seen. A little bit of bait out there, not a lot, just with a stick. With that really high tracked hook bait out there, and that's the rod that's gone, and it's got straight down into that weed bed and it's weeded me solid and come off. Bit gutted really. To have one on camera, that would have been really nice. That's how it goes. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm fishing that on a heli safe system on a safe zone leader, because as I say, you aren't allowed leg core or any other leaders. You're allowed tubing or safe zone leaders. They're the only rules on Crete lakes regarding leaders. So I've got that with a couple of beads. At the moment, because I'm fishing out there and I know there's quite a bit of weed out there, I'm feeling for the drop. And then once I've got the drop, that's where it stays out there. It's about 18-19 wraps out slightly to the right of my swim, slightly further around than where my middle rod is. There's been quite a few fish out there. Everywhere else I've hardly seen a fish the last day or so, just that one area, so that's why I couldn't resist it anymore. I had to get a single out there and just stick a little bit of bait around it. But yeah, that's a bit frustrating really to lose one, but that's basically it regarding my rigs. It's not really a shining light on their performance, losing that one. As I say, the bottom bait rig I've hardly lost a fish on, but on that stiff hinged rig I have dropped a couple in that weed. But again, barbless rules, and that is the only rod I'm fishing around some really thick reed beds, so sadly a few are going to come off, but yeah, gutted is all I can say about that one. The rod's back out there now, just got it back out before I carried on doing this, so hopefully I've got a chance of a couple more today. Yeah, I'd say it has been quite quiet the last day or so, so that was a bite completely out of the blue. It's the first run I've had during the day. They've all been at night, so yeah, you win some, you lose some. Hopefully there'll be more of a chance for another bite today, and hopefully we'll see you next with a fish. Alright, so here we go, it's the last night. I'm all packed down, ready to go in the morning. You have to have your rods in by 6:45 in the morning, and they start loading your gear up at 7:15, so I thought I'd chill with a beer and just enjoy the sunset for one last time here at Crete Lakes. It's been a brilliant week's fishing. I've had one 54 pounder, a 40, 4 30s and a load of 20 and doubles, so 12 fish in total. It's been a really good week, despite the lake fishing quite slowly. Apparently it's done half the amount of fish it would normally do in a week, but I've still enjoyed myself and had a great time. Facilities here at Crete Lake are brilliant. If you're thinking of a first trip abroad or a trip to France with a group of mates, then I highly recommend them. The food's been brilliant, breakfast and evening meals. They drive around in a van, you can buy snacks, drinks, beers during the day. It's a nice touch, and the bailiffs have been really good, so cheers to them. They've made the week really enjoyable. As of my mates, it's been a great week. We've wound each other up a lot and made a lot of jokes. It's been really good fun, so cheers to them as well. We've got the night still to go. It's not looking that great. I haven't seen a lot of fish since that run earlier, but you never know. It's Big Fish Friday, so hopefully that'll come true to its name. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. It's been insightful to you, giving you a bit of information onto Lake 5 at Crete Lakes. The backbird nearly flew into me. But yeah, as I was saying, hopefully it's been partially informative to you and you've enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll have a fish soon to show you, but if not, this will probably be the last time that I talk to you in this video. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.